Okay, Nicola, so I'm going to try, I want to help you a little bit with the blend. So we'll just, a little bit about, this is the door area of your car here right there. So if we, if we look at that, so this blend area right here isn't really working, yeah? And so let's take a peek at what's going on there. So if we just run blend from this piece to this piece, let's see what we get. We're using curvature and just basic, so the thing's all kind of had it, yeah. And so why is that? So what you want to look at when you're creating your patches and your surfaces, that's going to be a component that you're blending all together. Let's look at the point structure of your surfaces, yeah. So here, kind of two disparate surfaces, and this one even untrimmed, uh, shrinking the surface isn't really going to change the fact that this one just goes kind of curving and swooping down in a whole different structure, and this one's actually going in the opposite direction. So when you're going to be doing your patch modeling and stuff, you want to look at how you're creating your surfaces and keep those congruent with each other. So so like if I use a command on this curve set here, network it, yeah, and then the point structure of that particular one is going to be nice and square and even to that shape we created there. So let's do the same thing here. And we'll network this one. Oh, now if we look at the points of those two surfaces now, kind of both more in line and in step with each other about their particular structure, right? And now we run blend on those, and we get a nice blended surface. I won't even join yet, but that's how that blending now matches the surfaces together. So really though, to do that, so okay, wow, neato, we kind of clean that up, but how about for really the whole process? I kind of gave your model a looking over, and there's not really going to be any magical fix to anything. You really want to go back in your design process. So like for the door area, if you're going to call that, when you initially set up your design, when you lay these things out, kind of the first thing you want to do is mentally create the sections for what you're going to have. So like you're going to want to look at this door area here, and this kind of part of the shape here of the door is going to be something that you want to create with cuts later on. So you're going to when you get your first picture out, create these kind of cut lines first, and generate that kind of stuff. And so you're just thinking about down the road. You're spending a whole day thinking about down the road, and then I didn't get those together, huh? What did I do here? Okay, so this would all be done in a plane on your 2D image. And then you would name this, like front door cut, and then just stash that away later. Now when you're laying out your curves for these door surfaces that you're doing, when you're drawing these, just keep on going past this way, and it doesn't matter how far out you keep going. And when you lay those curves out, you can keep following. So even just for the door area, and then you're following the curvature, off into this direction. And then when you create your panels, you create this panel is going to be some big shooting off thing out this way that follows the curvature, and just go ahead and create them out that way. Then when you're ready to, you can do all your blending and stuff on nice square, everything's squared off. And when you create your surfaces, they all have a really good congruent point structure. And then when you're ready to make it a door, then you go back to your initial layout curves and you cut them off and they become the door, which then also, same thing, matches in with these. So the initial layout and construction of the thing is going to be very important. And then really what you're really left with is making sure that between the door and the here and from here and the back portion that you created as an entire section all on its own, you just have that one area to blend, and you're also blending it with one single structure that you've determined is where they're to blend, which would be like that particular layout that you chose from the front view. These panels would be coming in and going way past here, but you would cut them with the same line, or even, then you could slightly offset this cut from both and just do a blend between the two, and really nice structure. So mostly the first thing on a problem with your blending is just looking at the point structure of your surfaces, and make sure you're not doing some wild sweep and trim that creates some surface that has an underlying structure that's completely different from what you're going to blend it to. Make them different. So that's on one thing there. Now, you were talking about the blending and the curving and stuff, so I can add one point to that here. So really that initial setup, and then also you're looking at your surface structure. If your blend isn't really working, look at the surface structure between the two and see if you can make them more even with each other, and then that's what blend wants to see. So like this one here, here's this connection between these two that doesn't have any tangency to it. So let's delete that, and then in your post you said blend is the little curlies and everything is driving you nuts. So on here, if we're using this one, what you want to do is tell blend, you can use what's called your planar sections to control the blend. So really you're blending in the X direction of your model. So if you do that, it then becomes a blend that fits into, you got rid of that weird curlicue thing, and it's more like that. But really you don't want to go from blend to blend to blend to blend, because then you'll end up stuck trying to end up how you come into the other curve you wanted. It really becomes about the initial setup of the initial surfaces having a common nice seam area, and then you just have to work on that area here. So even there, so I got that blend, that one would look good if that's a nice blend there from there to there now. But what does that do for over here? What's really not going to work is having this in your surface right here. You see this hard edge right here is going to make it, this is what's going to cause you to have those you would have to have totally specialized tools. Plus, I mean, that's already a hard edge in this surface. You're just not going to get rid of a hard edge. You can't blend a hard edge. So this would have to really go back in time too, and just go back to what was the underlying surface there, which was this nice, goes all the way back there, and then I don't have all the other surfaces that created this blend up here that goes off to over here. So it's going to take some thought in there, but you're going to want to remove that hard edge from that surface right there, and not try to start patching up on top of that. You're only going to run into problems for there. So again, these it becomes that these cuts right here, you don't want to model your patch to that. You want that to be a cut to create your patch, and that you want the surfaces to be going on. So that right there, you know, these should have all been, you know, almost like you almost lay out a square that's larger than your area and draw all your curves out to that square area, and then create your patch surfaces out to that. Then you just come in the top and you'll just draw that hood cut like this, as a single line, and cut them off there. And what you have is all the surfaces from here to here to here to here to down are all basically created with the same point structure, which ties back into, you know, this door thing that I was talking about. And once you have that, then you're cutting that, because when you're trying to make this one a certain type of a model, and then you blend this one, and then you're sweeping this one, all three of these surfaces already have different point structures now, versus you could make these in there, and if it has to be modeled at a hard edge first, go ahead and model that at a hard edge, and then cut them all off. But then when you come back in, you can easily choose this surface and delete it, and then blend between the two to get rid of the hard edge and blend. But your surfaces are all ready to accept that blend, and that's how you do the blending. So a lot of times, you know, you can even you know, that, and then once you lay it out that way too, then you're going to be doing, you can be doing this kind of stuff in your modeling, which is let's see, fillet. Wait, I gotta join that first. Join fillet. Is that one pretty good? That's good enough for let's take a 5. Yeah, 5. So now if I did that and those surfaces were all square out here, you wouldn't be trying to control that edge to match something in a picture. You would just be creating a big long fillet. And then when you cut it off with this later, it would create that perfect edge you were looking for. But I would run a fillet there, then you could come in and you know, delete other surfaces that are tiny little patchworks created from the previous operation. Blend those with a G2 surface, and then and excuse me, and then now you would have a perfect surface, smooth, with continuity all the way through it. And then again, those are all done on a larger squared surface that you originally laid the curves out from, and then you come back in and you create that cut on your perfect surfaces there.